The alarm bells rang through the research ship like a death song. Science Officer Cathera pressed her thin fingers against the control panel. Watching the numbers flash red across the screen, the engine core was failing, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. "Captain Veltar, we have a problem," she called across the bridge. Her voice shook despite her training. The Zephyrians were a peaceful people, and their ships were built for studying stars, not surviving disasters. "Captain." Veltar floated over to her station. His large eyes, designed to see in the soft light of their homeworld, looked tired and worried. "How bad is it, Cathera?" "The main engine is dead. The backup systems are failing too. We have maybe 6 hours of life support left." At the star charts on her screen, they were at the edge of known space, far from any Zephyrian colonies. We're in human territory. The bridge went quiet. Every crew member had heard the stories about humans. They came from a death world called Earth, where the weather could kill you. The animals hunted in packs, and the plants were poisonous. The Galactic Council had marked their planet as Class 12 dangerous. No one was supposed to go there. "Send." "The distress signal," Captain Veltar said after a long pause. "Maybe another research ship will hear us." Cathara activated the emergency beacon. The signal would go out on all frequencies, calling for help in 17 different languages. She hoped someone would come. She hoped it would not be the humans. The Zephyrians had been studying a strange star system when their engines failed. The star was dying, throwing off waves of energy that made beautiful colors in space. It was the kind of thing that Zephyrian scientists loved to watch and record. They had been so busy with their work that they did not notice their engines were getting too hot. Now they were stuck, their ship. The luminous dawn was drifting in space with no power to move. The crew of 24 was scared, but trying to stay calm. They had emergency food and water, but without engines, they could not get home. "Captain," called Navigator Zeppelin from her station. "I'm getting something on the emergency channel." Captain Veltar moved quickly to her side. "What kind of something?" It's a response to our distress call." Zephelin's voice was very quiet. "Sir, it's coming from a human ship." The bridge became so quiet that Cathara could hear her own heart beating. Humans were supposed to be dangerous. They were warriors who fought wars on their terrible planet. The Council said they were too violent to join galactic society. "Put it through," Captain Veltar said. His voice was steady, but Catha could see his hands shaking. The speakers crackled to life. A deep voice spoke in clear galactic standard. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Horizon's Edge. We have received your distress call and are moving to help you. Please respond with your ship's status and crew condition." Cathera stared at the radio. The human sounded ... normal. Not angry or violent, just concerned, like any captain would be when finding a ship in trouble. "This is Captain Veltar of the Zephyrian research vessel Luminous Dawn," he replied after a moment. "We have engine failure and limited life support. 24 crew members, no injuries yet." "Copy that, Luminous Dawn. We're about 2 hours out from your position. Can your life support hold until then?" "Yes, we should be fine for 6 hours." "Good. We're bringing repair equipment and medical supplies." "Don't worry, Captain. We'll get you home safe." The channel went quiet. The Zephyrian crew looked at each other with wide eyes. The human had sounded ... kind. That was not what they expected. At all. "Sir," said Communications Officer Tissera, "should we contact Zephyrian Command? Tell them about the humans." Captain Veltar thought about it. "Not yet. Let's see what happens first." Cathera went back to her station and tried to keep the ship's systems running. She thought about what she knew of humans. They came from a world where everything was dangerous. The gravity was stronger than most planets. The weather changed quickly and could be deadly. There were creatures called sharks that lived in the water and ate other animals. There were storms that could destroy cities. But humans had survived. All of that. More than survived, they had become one of the strongest species in the galaxy. Their ships were fast and well-armed. Their technology was different from everyone else's, but it worked very well. They had spread to dozens of star systems in just a few hundred years. The scary part was that humans seemed to like danger. Other species avoided risky situations, but humans looked for them. They explored dangerous planets, flew through asteroid, fields, and went to places that would kill most other beings. "Contact on sensors," announced Zeppelin. "It's them." On the main screen, they could see a ship approaching. It was smaller than the luminous dawn, but looked much stronger. The hull was thick and dark, built to survive battles. There were weapon ports along the sides, though they were closed. The ship moved with smooth confidence, like a predator that was not afraid of anything. "Luminous dawn, this is Horizon's Edge," came Captain Morrison's voice again. "We're going to dock with your cargo bay. Is that acceptable?" "Yes, Captain Morrison. The bay is open and ready." "Thank you. We'll be aboard in a few minutes." Cathara felt her stomach twist with worry. In a few minutes, she would see humans up close. Real humans, from the Death World Earth. She had seen pictures, of course, but those were old and not very clear. Humans looked similar to many species. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, but they were supposed to be much stronger and more dangerous. The ship shook slightly as the human.
Ow.
Well,
Kethera heard the sound of the airlock opening. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors, getting closer to the bridge. "Captain Veltar," said a new voice from the corridor. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison. Are you ready for us to come in?"
Please.
"Captain Morrison, we're grateful for your help." The bridge door opened, and the humans walked in. Kethera had expected monsters. What she saw were people who looked almost normal, except they were bigger and moved differently. Captain Morrison was tall and broad, with dark hair and kind eyes. Behind him came a woman with short brown hair who carried a medical bag, and a man with tools who was already looking at their control panels. "This is Dr. Lisa Brooks, our medical officer," Captain Morrison said, and Chief Engineer Ryan Taylor. "Ryan, can you take a look at their engines?" "Already on it, Captain," said Ryan, studying their displays. "Looks like an overheating problem. Should be easy to fix." Dr. Brooks was scanning the Zephyrian crew with a small device. "Everyone looks healthy," she said with a smile. "Little stressed, but that's normal." Cathara stared at them. These humans were not acting like dangerous warriors. They were acting like ... like helpful neighbors who had come to fix a broken water system. "Captain Morrison," said Captain Veltar carefully, "why did you respond to our call? We are not your people." The human captain looked surprised by the question. "You needed help," he said simply. "That's what we do." Ryan Taylor was already deep inside the engine room when the rest of the human crew finished introducing themselves. Kethera watched him work through the security cameras. He moved like he belonged there, touching alien technology with confidence. That made her nervous. "Your friend seems very sure of himself," she said to Captain Morrison. Morrison smiled. "Ryan can fix anything. He once repaired a quantum drive using spare parts from a coffee machine." The captain saw her confused look. "Coffee is a drink we make on Earth. The machine heats water and mixes it with ground beans." Dr. Brooks was examining one of the injured Zephyrians who had hurt his arm when the engines first failed. "This is interesting," she said softly. "Your bone structure is much more delicate than ours. What we would call a small bump could break your bones easily." The injured Zephyrian engineer, Colvin, looked worried. "Is that bad?" "Not bad, just different," Dr. Brooks said with a gentle smile. "I'll be extra careful when I treat you. Your body is perfectly designed for your world. Ours is designed for a much rougher place." Communications specialist Amy Chen was working with Tessara at the radio station. Your communication system is amazing, Amy said. Much more advanced than ours. But why don't you have backup power? Backup power? Tissera looked confused. Why would we need that? Our systems are very reliable. Amy paused in her work. What happens if your main power fails? It never fails. Our technology is very safe. Amy looked at Captain Morrison with raised eyebrows. Morrison nodded back. This was something they had not expected. Captain Veltar, Morrison said carefully. Can I ask you something? How often do your ships have accidents like this? This is the first time in 50 years, Captain Veltar replied proudly. Zephyrian engineering is very safe. We design our ships to work perfectly. Security Chief Kevin Martinez, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. What do you do if something goes wrong anyway? Call for help and wait for rescue, said Navigator Zeppelin. All civilized species do this. Fighting problems only makes them worse. The humans exchanged looks. This was very different from how they did things. From the engine room came Ryan's voice over the communication system. Captain, you need to see this. The engine design is incredible, but there's a problem. Morrison and several others went down to the engine room. Ryan was standing next to a huge machine that hummed with power. It was beautiful with smooth curves. And soft lights? Look at this, Ryan said, pointing to different parts. This engine is 50 years ahead of our technology. It's more efficient, cleaner, and more powerful than anything we have. That sounds good, said Morrison. It is good. But look at this. Ryan showed them a panel. There's only one of everything. One power source, one control system, one cooling unit. If any single part breaks, the whole engine dies. Dr. Brooks examined the engine with her medical training. It's like a body with only one kidney, one lung, and one heart. Very efficient, but if anything goes wrong, ... The whole thing stops. Morrison finished. Captain Veltar looked confused. But why would you need more than one of each part? That would be wasteful. Ryan scratched his head. Captain, what happens on your homeworld when the weather gets bad? Bad weather? Captain Veltar seemed puzzled. Our weather is very stable. It's always warm and comfortable. Sometimes it rains gently for the plants. Amy Chen had joined them in the engine room. What about storms? High winds? Temperature changes? Those don't happen on our world. Why would they? The humans stared. At him, finally, Morrison spoke. Captain, on Earth, the weather can change from hot to cold very quickly. We have storms with winds that can knock down buildings. Sometimes water falls from the sky so hard it floods entire cities. In some places, it gets so cold that water turns solid. That sounds terrible, said Zeppelin, who had followed them. Down. How do you survive? We plan for bad things to happen, Ryan explained. We build our houses strong. We keep extra food and water. Our machines have backup parts in case something breaks. And our ships, added Martinez, are built to handle problems. If one system fails, others can take over. Dr. Brooks was studying her medical scanner. Captain Veltar, can I ask about your people's health? Do you ever get sick?
Sick.
You mean like when our bodies don't work correctly? He thought about it. Very rarely. Our world has no dangerous germs. The food is always safe. The air is always clean. What about injuries? Do people ever get hurt? Sometimes someone might fall and get a small cut. But serious injuries are very rare. We don't have dangerous animals or unsafe places. The humans looked at each other again. Amy spoke first. On Earth, we have animals that hunt people. Plants that are poisonous to touch. Whether that can kill you if you're not careful, germs that make us sick all the time. That sounds like a nightmare world, said Colvin, the injured engineer. It made us tough, Morrison said simply. We had to learn to survive when everything goes wrong. They went back to the bridge, where more humans were working with the Zephyrian crew. Pilot Officer Greg Adams was looking at their navigation system with amazement. This is incredible, he said to Zeppelin. You can plot courses through space that are perfectly smooth and safe. No obstacles, no dangerous areas, no rough flight paths. Of course, Zeppelin replied. Why would we fly through dangerous areas? Sometimes you have to, Greg said. What if there's an emergency and you need to take a risky route to save time? We would find a safe route instead. It might take longer, but safety is most important. Greg looked at Captain Morrison. Captain, how do we explain asteroid fields to them? Morrison sighed. Captain Veltar, in our part of space, we sometimes have to fly through areas full of floating rocks. They can damage ships, but sometimes it's the only way to get where we need to go. Captain Veltar looked shocked. You fly through fields of rocks? On purpose? When we have to? We've gotten good at it. Dr. Brooks was treating more crew members and learning about Zephyrian biology. Your people are perfectly adapted to a safe, stable world, she told Captain Veltar. You're healthier than us in many ways, but you've never had to deal with danger or uncertainty. Is that bad? Asked Cathara. Not bad, just different. But it explains why your technology doesn't have backup systems. You've never needed them. From the engine room, Ryan's voice came over the speakers. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is, I can fix your engines. The bad news is, my repairs are going to horrify you. Morrison smiled. Be horrifying, Ryan? Because I'm going to add backup systems, emergency overrides, and manual controls. Things that can take over if the main systems fail. To them, it's going to look like I'm ruining their beautiful, efficient engine. Captain Veltar looked worried. Will it still work? Better than before, Ryan promised. It just won't be as neat and clean. But if something goes wrong again, you'll have other options. Amy had been monitoring space traffic while they worked. Captain Morrison, I'm picking up some signals. There are other ships in this area. Morrison looked at the readings. What kind of ships? Unknown configuration. They're moving this way, but slowly, like they're being careful. Martinez checked his security systems. Are they responding to the distress call too? I don't think so, Amy said. They're not using standard rescue protocols, and they're coming. From the direction of the old pirate territories, Captain Veltar went pale. Pirates, are you sure? Not sure yet, Morrison said calmly. But we should be ready just in case. How do your people usually handle pirates? We surrender immediately and hope they don't hurt us too much, Captain Veltar said quietly. The bridge went silent. Finally, Martinez spoke. Captain, maybe we should explain how humans handle pirates. Morrison nodded. Captain Veltar, we handle pirates very differently than you do. Amy Chen watched the unknown ships on her screen. They were still far away, but getting closer. Captain Morrison, I count 3 vessels. They're not broadcasting any identification signals. Morrison nodded. Keep watching them, Martinez. What's our weapons status? All systems ready, Captain, Martinez replied. But we're still connected to the alien ship. Captain Veltar looked confused. Weapons? You're going to fight them, if we have to, Morrison said simply. Ryan, how much more time do you need with those engines? Ryan's voice came from the engine room. Give me another hour and they'll be better than new. But Captain, if we have to move fast, I can get them running in 20 minutes. 20 minutes it is? Dr. Brooks, how are the injured crew members? They're stable, Dr. Brooks replied. But Captain, if there's going to be fighting, these people are not built for it. Their bones are too fragile. Stress alone could hurt. Then Kethera listened to the humans talking about fighting and weapons. This was exactly what the Council had warned about. Humans were violent creatures who solve problems with force. But then she noticed something strange. The humans were not excited about the idea of fighting. Captain Morrison looked serious and worried. Dr. Brooks was concerned about keeping everyone safe. Even Martinez, who was in charge of weapons, seemed calm and professional. Captain Veltar. Morrison said, I need to ask you about galactic law. If pirates attack a rescue operation, what are we allowed to do? Galactic law says you should try to avoid violence, Captain Veltar replied. Fighting is only permitted in defense of life. If they try to hurt your crew, then defense is allowed. But most species would still try to negotiate. First, Morrison looked at his crew. Thoughts? 3 ships against 1 doesn't sound like good negotiating position, Martinez said. Pirates don't usually want to talk anyway. Greg Adams was studying the sensor readings. Those ships are armed, Captain. Heavy weapons. They're built for raiding, not trading. Amy looked up from her communications panel. I'm trying to contact them on standard channels. No response so far. Dr. Brooks was still working with the Zephyrian crew, but she was listening too. Captain, what if we can avoid the fight entirely? Can we get both ships moving and escape? Possible, Morrison said, but their ships look faster than ours, and we don't know if there are more of them. Spoke up quietly. Captain Morrison, why are you willing to fight for us? We're not your people. Morrison looked at her with surprise. You asked for help? We came to help. That means we protect you until you're safe, but you could leave. Save yourselves. Could, Morrison agreed, but we won't. Captain Veltar was shaking his head. I don't understand humans. The council says you're dangerous and violent. But you're risking your lives for strangers. Maybe that's why they think we're dangerous, Amy suggested. We don't act like other species. From the engine room, Ryan called out, Captain, I need to show the Zephyrians what I'm doing to their engines. They need to understand how the new systems work. Several of the alien crew went down to see Ryan's repairs. Cathara stayed on the bridge, but she could hear their gasps of shock through the communication system. He's added so many extra parts, Engineer Colvin said over the radio. There are backup systems for the backup systems. And manual controls, added another voice. He says we can run the engines by hand if the computers fail. Why would the computers fail? Someone asked. They might not, Ryan's voice replied. But if they do, you'll be ready. Captain Veltar looked troubled. This is very different from our way of thinking. Morrison nodded. We've learned that things go wrong when you least expect them. It's better to be ready for problems that never happen than to be surprised by problems you didn't plan for that seem so ... paranoid. On Earth, we have a saying, Dr. Brooks said. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Amy suddenly looked up from her screen. Captain, the unknown ships just changed course? They're heading directly for us now, and they've increased speed? Time to intercept? Morrison asked. 40 minutes at their current speed. Ryan, how are those engines coming? It's almost done, Captain. But I need to explain something to the Zephyrians first. Ryan came back to the bridge, his hands dirty from working on the engines. Captain Veltar, your engines are fixed.
Oh.
But I've changed how they work. They're not going to be as smooth and quiet as before. What do you mean? Captain Veltar asked. I've added power boosters for emergencies. They'll make the engines louder and shake the ship more. But if you need to escape from danger quickly, you'll have the power to do it. Our ships aren't designed for rough movement, Navigator Zephlin said. The crew could be injured. Dr. Brooks was checking her medical supplies. I can prepare safety restraints and medical support. But Ryan's right. You need the option to move fast if your lives depend on it. Martinez was watching the approaching ships. Captain, they're definitely pirates. I recognize the ship design now. Drakmor raiders. What do you know about them? Morrison asked. They're not the worst pirates, but they're not gentle either. They usually take what they want and leave. But they don't like it when people fight back. Captain Veltar looked scared. The Drakmor have raided Zephyrian ships before. They took our cargo and left us stranded. We had to wait 6 days for rescue. Did they hurt anyone? Dr. Brooks asked. No, we gave them what they wanted immediately. That's what you're supposed to do. Morrison thought about this. What if we don't give them what they want, and they'll take it anyway, and they might? Hurt people to teach others a lesson. Amy was still trying to contact the approaching ships. Still no response to our calls? They're ignoring standard communication protocols? Greg was studying the navigation data. Captain, I can plot an escape route, but it goes through an asteroid field. The Zephyrian ship might not be able to handle it. With Ryan's modifications, could they make it? Maybe. But it would be rough. Dr. Brooks was preparing emergency medical kits for both crews. I'd rather treat some bumps and bruises from a rough escape than injuries from a pirate attack. Cathera watched the humans prepare for what might happen. They moved with calm efficiency, like they had done this many times before. Each person knew exactly what to do without being told. Captain Morrison, she said, have you fought pirates before? A few times, Morrison replied. Space is a big place, and there aren't always police around. Sometimes you have to take care of yourself. And you've always won? Morrison smiled grimly. We're still here, aren't we? From the engine room came the sound of machinery starting up. Repaired engines were running, but they sounded different. From before, stronger, but rougher. Engines are ready, Captain, Ryan announced. Both ships can move whenever you give the word. Amy looked up from her communication station. Captain, I just received a message from the approaching ships. They're demanding we stop engines and prepare to be boarded. What's their exact message? Morrison asked. Amy read from her screen. Unknown vessels, you are ordered to shut down all systems and prepare for inspection. Resistance will be met with force. You have 10 minutes to comply. Captain Veltar looked at Morrison. We should do what they say. That's how these situations are handled. Morrison looked at his crew. Then at the Zephyrian captain. Captain Veltar, I need to ask you something important. Do you trust us? Yes. You came to help us when no one else would. Then I need you to trust us now. We're not going to surrender to pirates. We're going to get everyone home safely. But we're going to do it our way. What does that mean? Martinez was checking his weapons one more time. It means we're about to show these pirates why humans have a reputation in this part of space. The unknown ships were getting closer. It's soon. They would find out what happened when pirates tried to attack a human rescue operation. The pirate ships were close enough now that everyone could see them on the main screen. They were dark and ugly, covered with weapons and armor plates. The largest ship was twice the size of the horizon's edge. 5 minutes until they reach us, Amy reported. Still no response to our communication attempts. Captain Morrison stood in the center of the bridge, calm and focused. Dr. Brooks, get everyone strapped in. This might get rough. Ryan or both. Ships ready to move? Ready, Captain? Ryan's voice came from the engine room. The Zephyrian ship can move as fast as we can now. Captain Veltar looked confused. Captain Morrison, what's your plan? Are we going to run away? Not exactly, Morrison said. Martinez, what do you think? Can we take 3 ships? Security Chief Martinez studied the tactical display. It won't be easy, Captain, but they're not expecting us to fight back. That gives us an advantage. I don't understand, said Navigator Zephlin. How can fighting 3 ships with 1 ship be an advantage? Greg Adams was plotting courses on his navigation screen, because they think we'll surrender. They're not ready for a battle. Amy suddenly looked up from her communications. Captain, I'm getting a transmission from the lead pirate ship. Put it through, Morrison said. A rough voice filled the bridge. Human ship. This is Captain Drax of the Drakmor Raider fleet. You will surrender the alien vessel and prepare to be searched. Comply now or face the consequences. Morrison picked up the communication device. Captain Drax, this is Captain Morrison. The alien vessel is under our protection. I suggest you find something else to do. There was silence for a moment, then harsh laughter. You think 1 little human ship can stop 3 Drakmor raiders? You're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe. Both, Morrison replied. But we're not giving you the alien ship. Then you will all die. Attack formation. All ships. Communication ended. On the screen, the 3 pirate ships spread out, surrounding the humans and Zephyrians. Captain Veltar was shaking. They're going to kill us all. We should have surrendered. Trust us, Morrison said quietly. Martinez, are you ready? All weapons charged and ready, Captain. Greg, execute Escape Plan Alpha. Yes, sir, Captain. Suddenly both ships started moving, but not away from the pirates. They moved toward them, straight at the largest ship. What are you doing? Captain Veltar shouted. You're flying right. At them. Exactly, Morrison said. Expect us to run away or try to go around them. They don't expect us to attack. The pirates were surprised. Their formation broke apart as they tried to avoid the charging human and alien ships. The largest pirate ship fired its weapons, but the shots went wide because they had expected their targets to be running away, not coming closer. Now, Ryan, Morrison called. From the engine room of the Zephyrian ship came a brilliant flash of light. Ryan had overloaded their sensor array just like he promised. The light was so bright, it blinded the pirate ship's sensors. They can't see us now, Amy reported. Their targeting systems are confused. The horizon's edge and the luminous dawn flew right between the pirate ships while they were blind. Martinez fired the human ship's weapons, but not at the pirates. He shot at pieces of space debris, creating a cloud of metal and rock around the enemy ships. Debris field created, Martinez announced. Sensors will be useless for at least 10 minutes. Greg had plotted their course perfectly. While the pirates tried to figure out where their targets had gone, the two rescue ships were already far away, heading for the asteroid field he had found earlier. Brilliant flying, Greg, Morrison said. How long until we reach the asteroids? 15 minutes, Captain, but the pirates will figure out where we went before then. Amy was monitoring the pirate communications. They're very angry, Captain, confused. They keep asking each other where we went. Dr. Brooks was checking on the Zephyrian crew. Many of them looked sick from the rough flying, some motion sickness, but everyone's okay. I've never seen anything like that maneuver. Captain Veltar was staring at Morrison with wide eyes. How did you know that would work? We didn't know for sure, Morrison admitted, but we've learned that sometimes the best defense is to do something unexpected. Kethera was amazed. You attacked 3 ships with 1 ship, and you won without even fighting them directly. The best fight is the one you don't have to have, Martinez said. But if you do have to fight, make sure you pick the time and place. Ryan came back to the bridge, grinning. Did you see that sensor overload? Beautiful. Zephyrian technology is perfect for creating electromagnetic pulses. Will it work again? Morrison asked. Maybe once more. But they'll be ready for it. Next time, Amy looked worried. Captain, the pirates are moving again. They've figured out our direction. They're really angry now. On the screen, they could see the 3 pirate ships coming after them. They were moving faster than before, their engines glowing bright red with extra power. Time to intercept? Morrison asked. 30 minutes, Greg replied. We'll reach the asteroid field first, but not by much. Captain Veltar looked terrified. You want to fly through an asteroid field? Captain Morrison, that's suicide? No one flies through asteroid fields. I do, Greg said simply. We've done it before, but our ship isn't designed for that kind of flying navigators, Zephlin protested. Is now, Ryan said proudly. With my modifications, your ship can handle anything ours can handle. Dr. Brooks was preparing more medical supplies. I'll be ready for any injuries from rough flying. It's still safer than letting the pirates catch us. The asteroid field appeared on their screens. It was huge, filled with floating rocks of all sizes. Some were as small as cars, others were as big as cities. They tumbled through space in random patterns, constantly crashing into each other. It's beautiful, Kethera whispered. Then she realized what she had said. I mean, it's terrifying. It's both, Morrison agreed. Greg, take us in. Stay close to the Zephyrian ship. What if we crash? Captain Veltar asked. Then we crash, Morrison said calmly. But if we stay out here, the pirates will definitely catch us. In the asteroid field, we have a chance. The 2 ships entered the field of floating rocks. Immediately, alarms started ringing on the Zephyrian ship. Their computers were screaming warnings about collision dangers and unsafe navigation. Turn off those alarms, Morrison suggested. They'll just distract you. Turn off safety warnings. Captain Veltar looked shocked. That's against all regulations. So is getting captured by pirates, Martinez pointed out. Greg was flying both ships through the asteroids with incredible skill. He twisted and turned, diving under big rocks and sliding between smaller ones. The Zephyrian ship followed closely, its new engines responding perfectly to every command. This is impossible, Zephlin said, watching Greg's flying. The computer says we should have crashed 6 times already. Computers don't understand everything, Greg replied, avoiding another floating boulder. Sometimes you have to trust your instincts. Amy was monitoring the pirates. They've reached the edge of the asteroid field. They single quotes, redot. They're not following us in? What? Morrison looked surprised. Why not? They're arguing among themselves. It sounds like they think we're crazy for going into the field. Martinez smiled. They're probably right. But crazy works sometimes. The 2 ships continued deeper into the asteroid field. The rocks were getting bigger and closer together. Greg had to fly even more carefully, but he seemed to enjoy the challenge. "Captain Drax is hailing us," Amy reported. "Put him through," Morrison said. The pirate captain's voice was full of anger. "Human captain, you cannot hide in there forever. When you come out, we will be waiting." "We're not hiding," Morrison replied. "We're escaping. There's a difference. You think you're so clever. But asteroids will kill you just as dead as our weapons." "Maybe. But at least this way we have a chance." The communication ended. The pirates positioned their ships around the asteroid field, waiting for their prey to come back out. But Morrison was already thinking ahead. "Greg, is there another exit from this field?" "Yes, Captain. About 2 hours of flying through the thickest part. Can we make it?" Greg grinned. "Hold on tight and find out." 2 hours later, the horizon's edge and the luminous dawn emerged from the other side of the asteroid field. Both ships were scratched and dented, but they were intact and moving under their own power. "Clear space ahead," Greg announced. "No." Sign of the pirates. Captain Veltar looked around the bridge in amazement. They had actually flown through an asteroid field and survived. "Can't believe we made it." "I can't believe how well your ship handled in there," Greg replied. Ryan's modifications worked perfectly. Dr. Brooks was treating several crew members who had been bruised during the rough journey. "Nothing serious," she reported. "Some cuts and bumps. But everyone will be fine." Amy was scanning space around them. No pirate ships in sensor range. "I think we lost them." Morrison nodded. "Good work, everyone. Now let's get our friends home." Captain Veltar was still shaking from the experience. "Captain Morrison, I need to understand something. Why did you do all this for us? We're strangers. From a different species." Morrison looked surprised by the question. "You needed help? We were able to help. It's that simple. But you risked your lives. Your whole crew could have died." "Yes, they could have. But they chose to come anyway." Morrison looked at his crew. "Right. Of course, Captain," Martinez said. "It's what we do. We're explorers." Amy added, "Helping people is part of exploring." Dr. Brooks was finishing her medical work. "On Earth, we have a saying. We're only as strong as the weakest person among us. If someone needs help and we can give it, we give it." Cathara had been listening to everything. The Galactic Council was wrong about humans. "They said you were too dangerous for contact." "Maybe we are dangerous," Ryan said, coming back from checking the engines. "But dangerous doesn't mean evil. Your people are dangerous to enemies," Captain Veltar said slowly. "But helpful to friends. That's not what we expected." Morrison was working with Amy to send a message to Zephyr in space. "We're contacting your government to let them know you're safe. We should reach Zephyrian territory in about 6 hours." Amy looked up from her communication panel. "Captain Morrison, I'm getting responses from Zephyrian Command. They want to talk to both captains." "I'll put them through," Morrison said. The main screen lit up with the image of an elderly Zephyrian in official robes. "Captain Veltar, this is Admiral Keshlin of Zephyrian Defense Command. We receive reports that you were rescued by humans. Is this correct?" "Yes, Admiral." Captain Morrison. "And his crew saved us from engine failure and protected us from pirates." The Admiral looked at Morrison with curious eyes. "Captain Morrison, I am Admiral Keshlin. We are very grateful for your assistance. But I must ask, why did you help us?" Morrison was getting tired of this question. "Admiral, with respect, why does everyone keep asking that? You needed help. You gave it. That's what civilized beings do. But according to our records, humans are classified as a dangerous species. The Galactic Council warned us to avoid contact." Dr. Brooks stepped forward. "Admiral, may I ask who made that classification?" "The Council's Xenobiology Department, based on reports about your home world and your species' behavior." Martinez spoke up. "Did anyone from the Council ever actually meet humans before making that decision?" The Admiral paused. I believe the classification was based on observational data and theoretical models." "They judged us without ever talking to us," Amy said. "That doesn't seem very scientific." Ryan was grinning. Admiral did their reports. "Mention that we like to fix things. Fix things. Your ship had problems. We fixed them. Pirates were threatening you. Fix that too. It's what we do." Captain Veltar spoke to his admiral. Sir, the humans didn't just rescue us. They improved our ship. Our engines are better now than when we started this mission. Prove them how. Added backup systems and emergency controls, things we never thought we needed. Cathara joined the conversation. Admiral, they taught us things about survival that we never knew. Our technology is advanced, but their methods are ... practical. Admiral Keshlin looked thoughtful. Captain Morrison, would you be willing to accompany Captain Veltar back to our space? Our government would like to meet you officially. Morrison looked at his crew. They all nodded. We'd be honored, Admiral. Excellent. And Captain Morrison, thank you. What you did today will not be forgotten. The communication ended. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Well, Morrison said finally, looks like we're making first contact after all. Over the next few hours, as they traveled toward Zephyrian space, the two crews continued working together. Ryan taught the Zephyrian engineers how to maintain their new backup systems. Dr. Brooks shared medical techniques that could help with injuries. Amy showed them communication methods that worked in dangerous situations. But the most important exchange was simpler than that. The crews just talked to each other. Captain Morrison Cathara said during one of these conversations, "Can I ask you about Earth? What made humans so ... so ready for danger?" Morrison thought about it. Our planet taught us that the universe doesn't care about our plans. Weather changes suddenly, animals hunt in packs, plants can be poisonous, diseases spread quickly. Learned to expect problems and plan for them. That sounds terrible, said Navigator Zephlin. Morrison agreed, but it made us strong, and it taught us to work together. When everything is trying to kill you, you learn to help each other survive. Greg was showing Zephlin how to navigate through dangerous areas. The trick is to stay calm and think fast. Don't panic when things go wrong. Figure out how to make them go right. But how do you stay calm when you might die? Practice, Greg said simply. We've been in dangerous situations so many times that they don't scare us as much anymore. Dr. Brooks was explaining human medicine to the Zephyrian medical officer. On Earth, we have to treat injuries all the time. Broken bones, cuts, burns, diseases. Our bodies learn to heal quickly, and our medicine learned to help them do it. Medical knowledge is so different from ours, the Zephyrian doctor said. We know how to keep healthy people healthy. We know how to fix people who are broken. Both are important, Dr. Brooks replied, but yes, we've had a lot of practice fixing broken things. Martinez was the most popular human among the Zephyrian crew. They were fascinated by his security knowledge. How do you plan for attacks? Engineer Colvin asked him. You think like an attacker, Martinez explained. What would you do if you wanted to hurt this ship? And you make sure those things can't happen. But there are so many possible attacks, so you prepare for as many as you can. The ones you miss, you deal with when they happen, as they got. Closer to Zephyrian space, Amy detected more ships coming to meet them. But these were not pirates. They were official Zephyrian vessels, coming to escort the research ship home. Captain Morrison, said Captain Veltar, when we reach my home world, what will you tell our leaders about humans? Morrison smiled. I'll tell them the truth. We're dangerous because our world made us tough. But we're not dangerous to friends. We use our strength to protect people, not hurt them. And I'll tell them something else. Cathara added. Tell them that humans are the first species we've met who respond to distress calls from strangers. In a galaxy full of advanced civilizations, it took the so-called dangerous species to show us what real civilization looks like. Amy looked up from her communication station. Captain, I'm receiving a priority message from Earth Command. Want a full report on our first contact with the Zephyrians? Tell them it went well, Morrison said. Very well. Ryan came back to the bridge with a big smile. Captain, the Zephyrian engines are running perfectly. It's better than they ever have. I think they're going to want us to upgrade their whole fleet. Are you ready for that much work? Morrison asked. Are you kidding? Can't wait to see what other alien technology needs fixing. Dr. Brooks laughed. Ryan, you're going to revolutionize galactic engineering standards? Someone has to, Ryan replied. These people build amazing things, but they never plan for problems. As the escort ships surrounded them, Captain Veltar made an announcement to both crews. Today we learned something important. It's the most advanced. Technology in the galaxy means nothing without the wisdom to use it properly. The humans taught us that wisdom comes from surviving difficulties, not avoiding them. Morrison nodded. You taught us that there are people in this galaxy worth protecting. People who build beautiful things and study the stars because they love knowledge. So what happens now? Asked Kethra. Morrison looked out at the stars ahead of them. Now we go meet your leaders. Then we start building a friendship between our peoples. The Galactic Council won't like it, Amy warned. Then maybe it's time the Council learned something new too, Morrison said. After all, they've never actually met any humans. Captain Veltar smiled. I think they're in for quite a surprise.